Greetings of the day and welcome for this presentation on the use of scientific calculators. The make which I have in front of you is Casio FX82MS, but this instruction may be applicable to most of the Casio series and even other scientific calculators. So this is the first part of a series of 3 videos. We are going to start with the 3 issues. Issue number 1, the calculator has different functions, has different keys. Some of the keys are single function, like number 7, 8, 9, these 6 are single function. So if you want to press whatever is written on the top, that will be the only use of that particular key. But some of the keys are called multiple function keys. If you look at this one, key number 1, this one has 1, and then there are some characters written on the surface of the calculator. So in order to arrive at the second function, which is colored in brown, you need to press shift and then you press 1. So the calculator will be assuming that you want to use the S sum function. And likewise, if you want to power off the calculator, the off is in brown, so you press shift and then you press the AC. Okay, the other issue, now let's put the calculator on. So the calculator has different modes. This particular calculator has 10 modes. To select a mode to use, you press mode key. For instance, if we press the first time, we get 1, 2, and 3. We are interested in number 2 and 3. 2 is for statistical data, and 3 is for regression analysis. If you press again, you get 3 additional modes. If you press again, you get additional 3 modes. And then if you press again, you get the last mode. Okay? We'll cover these 2 modes in the next presentation. The other issue which is very important is before you use the calculator, you need to clear the memory. Clear all stored information in the calculator. The key for clear is this one. This key is shared by mode and clear, but clear is in brown color, so you need to press shift and then clear. The calculator will ask you clear what? You select 3, clear, reset all, and then you press the equal sign to confirm your selection. So now the mode has been cleared. If you press AC, you are ready to use the calculator. Okay, so this ends the first part of the presentation. We'll go to the next presentation on statistical data. Thank you. Greeting of the day. This presentation is on use of scientific calculators for calculation of a regression equation and correlation coefficient. Normally, if we do regression, our intention is to have this particular line, this equation for the line. The line which we have in mind is if you have y and x on this side, this line represents the best fit between different data points of x and y. So the intention of regression analysis is to create this particular equation for the line of best fit in the data. This one is dependent variable. This is the intercept where the line crosses the y-axis. B is the slope of the line, and x is the independent variable on the x-axis. Okay? So this is the purpose of doing regression analysis. I want you to copy this data you can pause the video and then copy this data, because this is what I'm going to use. This column is for the independent variable, and this one is for the dependent variable. Okay? So before we start entering our data, we need to clear the memory. Shift, clear, 3, clear everything. Now the memory has been cleared. And then you need to select the mode. I want to use 3, which is regression. And there are different types of regression. Like now you see 3. If you press this arrow, you see other 3. But for this particular course, we're only limiting ourselves to a linear regression, which is number 1. You press number 1. So now the calculator is ready for input of the data. You start with the x-axis, the x data, 0, and then you press here for the comma. Do you see the screen has changed and put a comma? And then you put the y data 6.7. Once you entered the pair, then you put data. Now you are told that you have entered one pair. I'll continue. 10, 7.3, data 15, 13, data 20, 16, enter 25, 18, enter 30, 21, enter 35, 22, enter 40, 24, enter. So now we are told we've already entered the 8 different data sets, and you are done. You are now ready to start retrieving the different outputs. So we start with the shift number 1. Here you are given option to get sum of square for the x, sum of x, number of pairs, and then if you press this one, you see a sum of y squared, sum of y, sum of x times y. Okay? Now if I want to take example of 1, sum of y squared, you press 1, you press equals, that is the figure that you have, and you repeat this one for the rest of the variable. Like if I want to take the sum number 2, that is the sum of the x variables. So once you are done, you go to shift number 2. Number 2 will give you the mean standard deviation of the x, and if you press this one, you get the similar values for the y. If you press again, you get these 3 values. These are the values that we want. A is for the intercept, B is for the slope, and R is the correlation coefficient. We'll start with number 1. 1 equals 2. So we are told here that the intercept is 5.5 so and so. You can round this one by going to the fixed mode, 1, and choose 2 decimal point. So you see there, intercept is 5.51. We are done. You repeat the same procedure. You go for number 2, which is the slope. And that is the slope, 0.48. Okay? And then you can repeat this one for the correlation coefficient, R, which is number 3. That is the correlation between x variables and y variables. And as you shall see later on in the lecture, correlation does not require you to put the values in x and y. You can use interchangeably. Okay, so now that we are done, we are ready to plug the information and develop our equation. Any dependent variable equals to 5.51. There is a point here. This is the intercept A, plus 0.48, which is the slope, and this one is the independent variable. So with the regression, even though we have used these particular values, you can decide to take a value which is not here, like a 13, and put it here, 13 times 0.48 plus this one, and you will get the corresponding y variable. So I hope now you'll be happy in the exams. Instead of using complicated formulas, you can cheat me by writing a formula like this is the famous standard deviation formula. So you just put the formula to show that you understand the process. You plug in the sum of squared, sum of x. This is the total. Then squared divided by n minus 1. Very simple. And then for regression, the formulas are very complicated. Like you see, this one is the formula for slope, the B part. It's very simple. Sum of xy, you will get them from key number 2. Then you put sum of x and sum of y, you multiply them, divided by n. This one is exactly like the standard deviation of upper numerator values, so you know how to do it. Okay, thank you very much. I hope you will buy your calculators and you do a lot of practice to master this particular use of the calculator. Goodbye. Welcome to the second presentation. This presentation will be on use of the SD mode. Now I want you to copy this 5 set of data, copy them somewhere so that you can do the exercise later on. Okay, you can always pause and then you copy. So I'm going to use this particular data set to enter the information. So we start with selection of the mode. Statistical data is mode number 2, so I select number 2. And then you will see that there is a small icon here written SD. So the calculator is ready to receive input for SD. You enter number 3 and then you press the memory button, and it will be there will be an indication here that you have already entered one entry, then 18, 21, 24, 27. So once you are done with data entry, then you can relax. Even if you power off the calculator, there is no problem. The data will be in the memory. So now, once we are done, we go and retrieve the different functions which are required in calculation of standard deviation and the mean. So you press Shift and number 1, you'll see different options there. Sum of x squared, sum of x, which is simply the total of all the 5 figures, and 3 is a number of entries which have been used for this particular case. So if we want to select sum of x, I press 1, and then you confirm by pressing the equal sign, and that is the information. You need to repeat the same procedure again. Sum of x, I press 2, and then you press equals, you get the sum of x. Okay, now we'll go to the key number 2. Shift number 2. Here you see you have the mean, standard deviation of the population. This one we should not use. We always use standard deviation for the sample. So now I'm going to look for the mean. you press 1, and then you confirm your choice. So the mean is 18.6, and then you repeat the procedure. Press number 3 for the standard deviation of the sample, confirm, and this is what you get, 934 as the standard deviation. So very, very helpful. If you want to round off the decimal points, you can go to mode, you press again, you press until when you see fix, and then you select 1, fix how many decimal points, fix 2 decimal points. Now you can see the standard deviation is in 2 decimal points. So this ends presentation number 2 on statistical data using standard deviation and the mean. We'll continue with part 3 in the next video. Thank you very much.